It's astounding. The cash was piling. Hermes was on a roll. But listen closely, not for very much longer. Care has regained control. I remember playing a Molten during those moments when the mobs would hit me and the healer would be pulling. Let's review Molten again. Let's review Molten again. It's just a jump to the left. And keep your DPS real tight with your hands on your face. These mobs just aren't right, but it's the crazy bugs that we drive you insane. Let's review Molten again. Let's review Molten again.
Dodgy kebab, you fool, it's called Warmane now.
Oh. Hello sailors, you're watching the Dodgy Kebab, and this video is a review of the private Cataclysm World of Warcraft server, Warmane. Warmane is the new name for Molten since they merged with the Arena Tournament server, and anyone that's watched my videos before will know that there's been quite a bit of bad blood between myself and Molten. But since the meltdown, we've been back on speaking terms again, and I've been allowed back on the server. So let's put the past behind us and take a fresh look at Warmane. Here we are in the starting zone. I've picked up my opening quests and begin on the first mob. Why did all these other yellow mobs suddenly jump in to gang rape me? This shouldn't be happening at all. No! No! Leave me alone! No! God damn it, no! So, I've just been killed by the first mob in the opening zone. Welcome to Warmane, motherfucker! I pick myself up and try again. I narrowly escape death again by levelling up at just the right time, and then move on to the Wineyard quest, which actually displays the fires correctly, which is an improvement over what I remember the last time around. As this is a 7 times rate realm as far as I'm aware, I quickly have to travel to Goldshear to continue doing quests that are at my level. Also, because this is a 7 times realm, my professions level up very quickly too. My cooking would go up a lot faster too if the NPC would actually let me learn the skill. I can teach you to cook. Yeah, well how about you do that then? Taking a look at the pathfinding programming on this server, and it's pretty poor. This mob just runs straight through the tree to come and attack me. Brilliant. The bugs continue with mining node placements. At no point should tin nodes actually be spawning in the Fargo Deep mine, and silver in the forest is even further off. I finish a few more quests like Goldtooth and then head over to Stormwind, and I'm greeted by this NPC. Why are you in the ground? What are you doing there? Fishing seems to be okay for the most part, although the server has the habit of giving you no loot every so often. Cooking is fine, but you can't really get that wrong. What you can get wrong, however, is the Hogger script not working as it should. The quest can be completed, but it's not right. This is something that happens quite a bit early on, like the quest called Murder Was the Case that they gave me. No one seemed to actually want to talk to me, and then you have mobs like this who are a million miles away from being correct. Like I said, the quest can be completed, but it's very buggy. While on that quest, I did notice that Blanchy the horse seemed to have got stuck, but I can think of other games which have got buggy horses. Getting back to Stormwind, and I wanted to spend some money on some gear, but the economy is so hyperinflated I can't afford anything, so it's off to the pay-to-win web store to use some of my vote points to get some gear. Back to the game, and I'm already the correct level to take part in some RDF groups, so I fire up the option and get on with some quests while I wait. It's a good job that this realm is 7 times rate, because I ran into a lot of buggy quests. Simple collection quests seem to be okay, but if a quest has any sort of scripting, then you might as well forget it. It's not just quests that are broken, even some basic features fail to work. Here I just wanted to leave the guild I was in, But clicking my name and selecting leave guild doesn't work, so I had to use a text command to escape the nab guild I found myself in. Going back to professions, and the daily quest had problems. In the daily quest called hitting a walleye, it took ages to complete because of the amount of times the loot would just come up empty. And the daily quest called digging for worms was made unnecessarily harder. I ran round the pond for ages looking for a worm mound to loot, but only to find that the mounds were invisible on this realm. See? I'm looting one now! So, after these really basic fails, you'll be surprised as I was to see that archaeology works fine here. This actually cheered me up because I really like this profession and I enjoy reading the lore attached to the different items. It's just a shame there are so many glitches that bring the immersion crashing back down.
You got a $100 bill, get your hands up. You got a $50 bill, get your hands up. You got a $20 bill, get your hands up. You got a
But I continued on questing, mainly sticking to the collection quests because they seemed to be the ones that actually worked, although every so often one would work that I didn't expect, like the Deep Run Tram Rat quest. As well as quests, I pushed on with my professions like blacksmithing and archaeology. Then I realised that even though I was running the RDF tool for almost all the time while I was doing these things, it hadn't found me a single group. Remember, I'm playing a tank here, so my chances should be a lot higher than a DPS class using the tool, and considering the population size, I was starting to wonder if the tool actually worked at all. I already had found that the PvP finder didn't seem to want to match me up with anyone, so here I've been waiting over 8 minutes while queuing for 2 different battlegrounds. Dungeons were off the table, so I went back to the shitty questing again. Because I was flying through the levels, I soon found myself in Western Plaguelands, and a great deal of quests failed to work. And some were passable, but lacked the scripting to call them retail-like. I also found my old friends that couldn't be bothered to animate themselves. Other bugs kept cropping up, like this one when I land after taking a taxi ride to Darkshire, and the game refused to let me mount my horse or even log out the game. The balance of the game is totally out the window by this point because I was utterly destroying mobs that were well above my level. Other bugs include various flight masters being assigned to the wrong faction and the warrior's charge move being wide open to abuse, like here when I can just use the move to super jump past obstacles. Despite all this, I forced myself to press on with the quests. Not that I had much choice though, because even if the RDF finder had found me a group, there was no dungeons open at my level. I moved up to the Blasted Lands and soon enough I was ready for Burning Crusade content. But as I started questing in Hellfire, seeing the part of the game that I liked the most in such a sorry state made me despair. It made me so unhappy to see the glorious Burning Crusade content in such a mess that I did the unthinkable. I rolled a horde.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
As mental as this might sound, there was actually a good reason for this. A few years ago, when I did actually play on Lordaeron at Molten, I was the leader of a guild called South Park. Although I passed lead to another member quite a while back, the guild kept going and I stayed in contact with them on our guild GroupMe chat. They migrated to the Cata server, moved to Horside and changed their name to Double Shot Espresso. As I was reviewing this server, there was no way I was going to pass up the chance to raid with them all again. So here we go, now I'm levelling a Blood Elf, and right off the bat, one of the opening quests is bugged, because I can't pick up the item I need. Just in case that wasn't enough, when I try to abandon the quest, I can't, because I need my bag to be empty. Wait, what? No matter, most of the other basic quests did work, then I saw a good place to grab some footage for this video. I used the NPC in Silvermoon to walk me to the Darkmoon Fair entrance and headed on inside. I thought this would be a good opportunity to record some epic fail footage of the server. You know, something I can point and laugh at. I was not expecting this. First of all, the Whack-A-Knoll game worked like a charm, and by worked I mean perfectly. The cannon game works well. I think the drift script is slightly off, but in fairness, I changed my playstyle a tiny bit to suit the mechanics and it was fine. The shooting game is quite crap here. It's not correct at all, although it can be beaten with some patience. The Tonk shooting game was flawless. Another perfectly working fair game. The weird thing was that easy to script stuff wasn't working, like the bandage quest, where only one person will react to you and even he won't become healed. The Archaeology quest won't even start, although the Scrap Iron quest and the Blacksmith quest do work. So let's just take that in for a second. This works. But I can't pick up this. This is programmed correctly. But I couldn't leave a guild. Then, to my surprise, I received a message saying that Carewolf, the owner of Warmane and Molten founder, would like to speak to me on Skype. We talked about quite a few things. I asked about the current state of Warmane in terms of programming. He told me that since the meltdown, they had lost all access to their previous code, and that when they came back online, they had to start again with open source cores, which they are working round the clock to improve. I asked about Hermes. I thought it was apparent that Hermes was running Molten to get money, but not just a little bit. I was told that Hermes managed to make off with a 6 to 7 figure sum of cash. I'm assuming that that was dollars, but either way you look at it, that's a fucking big pile of money. Also, according to Care, Hermes has been arrested right here in England. Other shady shit that's happened under Hermes' leadership was Molten's MOP server. The core that Molten was using was actually stolen from Pandashan. Hermes may have paid a member of the Pandashan staff to leak a copy of the core to him so he could use it to offer a Molten MOP realm. I asked if the population had taken much of a hit since the meltdown, because it looked like the counters on the website were down a little bit. Care said that as of right now, the counters were overestimating the actual number of players by about 14%. Care said that as of right now, the team priorities were to fix as many bugs as possible so we can launch 1x rate realms again. He admits that right now, these are just not feasible due to the huge number of bugged quests. One of the big things he wanted to get through to me was, he wanted me to know that they were not hoarding money. Now clearly Hermes was, otherwise he could never have made off with such a huge amount of cash. He says they're not just piling money up, they're receiving a lot less from players now and they cover the running costs. Now I have an opinion on this. Clearly pay to win is not a great business model for people that want a pure and clean experience of the game, as it unbalances everything and creates an unfair playing field. But if there are players that want to play the game using a pay-for-gear system, is it morally wrong for the server owner to make a personal gain from this? Or what if you made a server with no pay-to-win element but received a shit ton of donations, more than enough to cover the running costs? Let's put the legality of the question aside for a moment, because private servers are a very grey area anyway. I think this really comes down to if the person is motivated to produce a quality experience for the players. If being paid for their efforts is the motivation they need to create coding to make the fun game for the players, I'm all for it. Hermes clearly wanted to take the money and he didn't give a shit about the players. For me, the jury is still out on Care. We will see. As we came to the end of our chat, I thought who better to ask for a level 85 tune than the top man himself. So he personally added some coins into my account, and with that I raised my Horde tune up to level 85 and got some gear. This all came just in time for me to join my guild on a Firelands raid. On my way, I encountered a mob which just didn't want to die, but I wasn't in the mood for caring because I was finally raiding back with my old guild again. If people are playing on this server and are looking for a good raiding guild, then give these guys a call. They are really great fun to play with and they know what they're doing. We smashed past boss after boss after boss. We really didn't find any real problems while raiding here, a couple of minor hiccups, but we did the whole thing and then beat Ragnaros at the end. I managed to score some even better gear from the raid, and I thought I'd continue on with my level 85 tune and do some RDF, so I queued up the normal. But I got nothing, so I queued the heroic RDF. Nothing again, but I asked in World Chat and that got me into a Black Rock Caverns group. We fought through it, but there were some obvious bugs like the big monster dude who didn't want to seem to help us out on the bridge. And the second boss wasn't quite scripted right. And the group wanted to skip the third boss altogether because they said it was totally broken. After this, I tried queuing for a PvP match. The queue was instant and I was thrown right into an AV match right away. I'll talk more about PvP here, but PvP is for wankers.
I'm inclined to agree with you, dodgy kebab.
Next, I joined a level 85 Shadowfang Cape group, and this place was so bugged that the group was able to pull the final boss from the first room, and we completed the dungeon in about 4 minutes. Another trip to Black Rock Caverns revealed a couple bugs I missed the first time around, like this frozen mob, and this NPC who is swimming in the wall. The next dungeon I tried showed that pulling faraway bosses wasn't limited to Shadowfang Keep, and we made short work of that dungeon. I thought I'd give a few early dungeons a go and started to solo the Dead Mines, but I came up short at the Goblin Foundry when I couldn't progress any further due to bad scripting, so I left. Finally, I tried out the Stockades. This was okay and even had the little bit of roleplay scripting at the end after I beat the Hogger. It's now time for the conclusion of the Warmane Cataclysm realm. So, would I recommend this realm? No. Despite it being clearly a step up from the open source cause that they started with only a few months ago, it doesn't even come close to a server like Atlantis. A lot more work is needed to get this up to an acceptable level, but it is clear from what I saw in Firelands and, things like the Dark Moon Fair, that the staff are working through this. What I do feel is that I've made this review too early and that I should have waited a few more months before making this review. I did consider cancelling the review altogether halfway through because I felt it was actually unfair to make a video on here that for a server that's only been around for 6 months. When you consider Nostrils began their work in 2010 and they took 5 years to release their server. But I decided to go ahead because I'd already announced that I was making the video, and I know that if I cancelled the review, all the haters in the tinfoil hats would take to Reddit to claim that Warmane paid me not to give them bad press. The truth is, Molten ruined its once good reputation by pissing over its players. Care claims that now he's in charge of everything, it will all change for the better. Personally, I'll believe it when I see it, but given the recent change in attitude from the staff, I'm at least prepared to give them a chance to show us that they mean what they say. Only time will tell if they'll actually deliver. As of right now, Warmane contains too much broken content and too many game-breaking bugs to even come close to being acceptable. Care has a big mess ahead of him to fix, but I suggest waiting to see if he really can repair the damage. Hello sailors, thank you for watching the video, hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to support me in my future videos, there's a Patreon link down there if you want to go that way, or by request I've now added a direct PayPal donate button, so if you want to do it that way, do it that way. There's other things you can do. You can follow me on social media like Facebook and Twitter, and why not have a look at these other videos I'm linking on the screen right now. Anyway, that's all, bye bye.